Hello everybody, it's Tuesday night and that means it's time for APPF1 Tier 2. We're here in Hungary for round 7 out of 10. I'm really getting into the business end of this championship now. We've got 19 drivers on the grid, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And hopefully it produces a fantastic race to boot. It's a tough track, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of mistakes today from everyone up and down the grid. It's just going to be who can remain the most consistent here at the Hungaroring today. Looks like first out on track is my commentary and podcast partner, Sumo Gilligan, in the Mercedes. He's had a tough run of it recently in Tier 2. A few DNFs in a row, and he's going to be looking to change that today in Hungary. As he comes through turn 4 on his outlap, he's on those soft tyres and looking for a decent race. And a decent qualifying as well. Also worth mentioning, oh, Jackalacco's binned it. What the? Jackalacco, what's he done? How is Jackalacco out of the session already? One of the championship contenders, the man who's level on points with the championship leader Lawrence, is going to be starting from P19 after crashing into the wall at turn 1 somehow. Is he just not concentrating? I've no idea. I'm sure we'll find out. But oh my goodness me, what on earth happened there to Jackalacco? Well, Sumo coming down towards turn 1 in the meantime. He's got a new helmet, which I quite like. I'll give that a solid 8.5 out of 10, to be honest. Very, very nice. Maybe even 9. Yeah, no, 9. And Sumo comes through turn 2 now. Looks pretty on rails, but a little too safe. And oh, he's doing 2 outlaps. He's doing 2 outlaps just like I was doing. He's taken notes from me from Tier 1 in Elite. And he's doing 2 outlaps. Jacko in the chat saying his pedals disconnected. A horrible bit of bad luck for the championship contender. And he's going to have to start this race from the back of the grid. And that is desperately disappointing for him. Aces all the way across the chicane there. So that's going to be a ruined lap for him. What about Tia? He's going to be next to cross the line for a competitive lap time. As he comes through the middle sector, through this very fast right-hander, easy to invalidate, and he has done. He's invalidated it. So still, who's going to be the first to set an actual lap time here? It's going to be Scott, I think. He's coming through now into the last couple of corners. Patterson's been disqualified from the session. Well, I say newbie, but it's not really a newbie. He's come back. But he's been disqualified for driving the wrong way. I don't know how he's managed that. So Jacko won't start from the back after all. He'll start from P18 as Scott, finally, the first to put a competitive lap time on the board. Yaron beats him a 17.4 with no line there. Muhiti also not a competitive lap time from him. What about Rafferrari? He's on an outlap. There's an AlphaTauri as well. That's Krauser coming across the line, a 17.5 just behind Yaron, very, very close. And we've got Mania just behind Krauser as well. As everyone starts putting in those lap times. Mr. J-Man going to be next across the line, our pole man from last week. And he takes provisional pole today as well, a 17.078 from the J-Man. Just refresh my chat. There we go. Need to select all messages as well. There we go. Right. Who's going to be next? It's going to be the championship leader, Lawrence, and defending champion, but he's invalidated. Rafferrari's in sector 2 right now. Looks like Alex G has blown them all out the water, though. A 16.6 from the Mercedes driver, the resurgent Mercedes driver. just great to see. MCL also on an outlap. Plenty of people on outlaps right now. He's just diligently getting out the way, but it's very, very congested out there. A lot of traffic. And yet, Jack Alacco in the chat saying he's just got to do it the hard way. And that's exactly right. It's going to be quite a slog for you as RJ now takes pole, a 16.5 by just under a tenth from Alex G. The American, who's been in good form recently in Tier 2, takes pole position. Ferrari goes up to P4. Good lap from him in the Williams. Sumo's taken P5 after he's put a lap on the board. That's not bad at all. Just ahead of Yaram there in the Mercedes. Got Aces versus Kings. He's only P10 with his first run. Scott's up to P9 in the meantime, or stays P9, I think. Muhiti, I don't think he's set a proper lap time yet. Lappo has invalidated his lap, and he's gone on the curb, and he's going to be in the wall, perhaps. Oh my goodness me, how has he not gone in the wall? Stops inches from the wall there in his spin. Just got too much on the curb there on the outside. Lawrence now, the defending champ, goes to P3. And that's ominous because usually his first laps in qualifying are not as good, and then he improves them later on in the session. So very ominous that. P3 for Lawrence. Who's going to be next? It's going to be Robsu, our most recent race winner. And actually he's... As MCL now goes to pole, a 16.165 by nearly 4 tenths from RJ, a huge time from the Haas driver. What can Robsu do, the Finnish driver who's become a championship contender as of that win last week? He's only 22 points behind the championship lead with 4 rounds to go. He is definitely in with a shout. He's an outsider for sure, but if he can keep up the form that he showed last week in Brazil, then who knows? And he did say in the interview that he felt really, really good after changing his setups at certain tracks. So we'll see if that carries forward to Hungary today. He's through Sector 2 now, into the last few corners on the circuit. Really commit for this right-hander. Down towards the last 2 corners now. Long hairpin, you've got to wait as long as you need to get the throttle down, but you can't wait too long as he comes around the final corner, which is a similar story. It's a 16.8 from Robsu, puts in P5 for now. It's not too bad at all from the Finn. Tier in the meantime, he invalidated his first run. He's on his second run now in the Ferrari, going through turn 2 and 3 and into sector 1. 27.6 through turn 4, very easy to invalidate on the exit of that corner, but no such mistake from Tier. A little bit too conservative through turn 5, now to 6 and 7, very nicely done from the British driver, who's in a bit of a resurgence of his own actually. Got a P2 a couple of weeks ago back on the podium. It was good to see in Miami. But it's a slap looking a bit conservative from Tier, but we'll see where it puts him on the timing sheet as he comes to the last couple of corners now. Here he goes through the final corner for Tier. What's it going to be on the timings on the left-hand side? DRS open to the line. It's looking decent, and it's P6, a 16.9 from Tier. It's not bad at all. As Sumo's back out on track, but also doing 2 outlaps as before. As Yaram also improving. He's on the softs this time, a 10.5 quicker in Sector 1. As he looks to try and get himself further up the grid. He's racing in with no line here in Tier 2. He's a Tier 1 driver usually, sort of mid-grid in Tier 1. But here in Tier 2, racing without line, giving it a go. And he should be relatively mid-grid, I think, as he comes through now towards the final sector. He's 6 tenths up, though, on his previous best. So into the final sector, those soft tyres really working for Yaram. Gets the throttle down. I think the biggest difference really between Tier 2 and Tier 1 drivers is application of the throttle, to be honest. It's confidence in the car on corner exits. I think that's the biggest difference. As Yaram comes to the line, it's looking good. It's P3, a 16.4 from Yarum, just ahead of RJ there, and Yarum looking with decent pace here, but not groundbreaking, and that's what matters. Alex G does improve, but it's only enough for P3. Tier improves, he does another lap on the same tyres, and he goes up to P2. The track improving, all the drivers improving as well. We saw this in Tier 1 on Friday. Drivers improved so much right at the end of the session, so this qualifying session far from over as Muhiti improves to P10 in the meantime. Sumo on his next run, he's 3.5 tenths up in Sector 1. He's going to be pleased with that as he comes into the middle sector now. Mania not improving, he's going to have to go again. Same with Scott. Aces, he's 6.5 tenths up. This is a lot better from the Haas driver, the former championship leader. It's going to be a 16.8, P8 for Aces at the moment. But a long way off of his teammate. What's Sumo doing through Sector 2? He's 5.5 tenths up, looking to take himself into the top 10 here in his Mercedes. Last couple of corners to go for my podcast partner. Check out the APPF1 podcast, by the way. It's on Spotify. You should be able to find it relatively easily. Me and Sumo are having a lot of fun doing it. We're very proud of it. He goes up to P7. It's a very decent lap time from Sumo, and these times are very, very close indeed. Mr. J-Man just getting out of someone's way there. I think that was Robsu, but he's on an outlap, so it's not too much of a bother. As Lawrence now goes up to P2 in the Aston Martin, a half a second improvement for the defending champion. But it's not enough to unseat MCL from his provisional pole. RJ is not improving right now. What is Mr. J-Man doing? Not improving either. As Ace is also not improving. Robsu on an outlap. What's Rafferrari doing? He's in Sector 1 at the moment, just coming to the end of it. He's 2 tenths up in that first sector. It's looking good from the Williams driver, who had a bit of a slow start to the season, but he's been so much better these last 2 or 3 weeks or so. He's been right up there in the midfield, and it's great to see him improving. Mania in Sector 1 at the moment. I don't know if he's on a run. I don't think so. Lucas on an outlap as well, still hasn't managed to set a lap, has the Ferrari. So Scott remains in the pits. Mania, he's got to be careful of his teammate here. I don't think, no, Krauser's on an outlap, so it's not too big a deal. I don't think Mania's on a lap right now. He's doing a second outlap. The AlphaTauris have got to be a bit careful here. There's a Red Bull coming up. Oh dear. Who was that? It was Lupper, but he was on an outlap, so they'll be fine. But that could have been very nasty for them. They could have found themselves in the steward's office for that one. As Robsu comes through turn 5, very wide of the apex, but gets on the power relatively okay. Through the chicane comes the Red Bull driver. The race winner from last week. We've had 6 races so far in Tier 2 and 6 different winners in all of those races. It's been incredible stuff. Robsu not improving in Sector 2 though, so he's going to have to find something out the bag here in order to continue his winning run. Mr. J-Man a 10.5 up in Sector 2. At the moment it would just be enough to get him up to P6, but no further than that at the moment. McLaren driver through the final corner. What can Mr. J-Man put on the board here? Down towards the line. DRS open. It's looking decent. It's a 16.3. Big improvement in the final sector. And he's up to 3rd place. Is Mr. J-Man. Good effort from him. Our pole man from last week. Lucas Rowe in the meantime in the Ferrari. Coming through Sector 2 at the moment. 54.7 in that middle sector. Hopefully he can at least get a time on the board now. Rafferrari, big improvement for the Williams driver. He's up to P9. Huge improvement there. Great stuff. And here comes Lucasro now in the Ferrari. Through the final corner he comes. It's looking okay from the, I think, Italian driver, if I'm not mistaken, or was that Rafferrari who's Italian? One of them is Italian, one of them is Spanish, I can't remember. Apologies, guys. But he goes up to P9, and he'll be very happy to have a lap on the board, at least. Krauser down there in P13, he's come into the pits, so he's going to have to try again right at the end. Lupper improves a little bit. J-Man tier, Alex has invalidated tier. is still in Sector 1 right now. Mr. J-Man not improving. He's on an in-lap tier very deep at turn 2. That'll cost him a lot of time, and yeah, he's backed out of the lap. No improvement there as of yet. I can't tell how much time is left because of the yellow flag notification in the way, which is really annoying, by the way. I wish they would not have that happen. Okay, 2.5 minutes to go in the session, so still plenty of time to get a lap in if you haven't got one yet. Aces versus Kings is going to be one of those people. Muhiti is currently not on a lap, so here comes the Haas driver now. Through Sector 1 he goes. Is it going to be an improvement across the Sector 1 line? No, but it's just about on par, 16 thousandths down as he comes through the middle sector now, a little wide of the apex there at turn 5, down towards 6, brake at the outside curb, or maybe even a little bit later than that. Ace is pretty conservative through the chicane, but getting his car planted to the floor, again conservative through there. And yeah, I think this is, like I was saying, the main difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2 in APP. Tier 1 drivers are more confident to get on the power earlier and use more of the track. As Aces has a big moment on the exit there of that first right-hander. Very lucky to not be in the wall. He caught it very well, to be fair to him. Scott is 4 tenths up in the meantime in the Alfa Romeo through Sector 1. So he's looking to make an improvement and get himself more in line with the times of the rest of the grid. He's on par with Mania at the moment, but they're half a second off of the rest of the pace, which is quite a significant margin given how close the rest of the grid is. Scott, though, 3 tenths up in Sector 2. He lost a couple tenths in that middle sector. Good evening to Marcus in the chat. Good to see you, mate. As Scott, I think he's backing out of this lap and going again. Yeah, he is. So this is his last chance to get something on the board. That is not going to be a way to do it. He spun out the final corner. And I think that's going to be Scott's qualifying over. 43 seconds to go. MCL, though, is on a lap looking to improve and cement his place on pole position. Tier has improved, but it's not enough to beat MCL. It's only a tenth that he's gained. It's only a tenth in it, and he's gained a tiny amount, but it's not enough. Scott spins out of turn 1 anyway, so definitely his qualifying over. MCL is a tenth and a half up in Sector 1, though. What can Alex G do? Lawrence, Mr. J-Man and RJ all on outlaps. Yaram and Sumo, also keep an eye on them. Sumo, a little bit up in Sector 2, but it's not going to be enough to challenge for pole, I don't think. It should be a decent mid-grid qualifying for Sumo. Through the final corner comes the Mercedes driver. DRS open all the way down to the line. It's a 16.6. It's no improvement in the end for Sumo Gilligan, and he stays P8 for now. But look at how congested the track is. A lot of traffic out there is going to make it difficult for our drivers. MCL can't improve. He lost all his gained time in that final sector. Tier can't improve either. He's invalidated. What about the defending champion Lawrence? As he comes through Sector 3, I'll read chat in a second. Once these laps are done, we've got to have a breakneck ending to qualifying. Mr. J-Man's done as well. He's not improved. RJ coming through Sector 2. What can he do? He's 5 tenths up. RJ Blair on for an absolutely blistering pole position time here. He just has to keep it up in the final sector. What about Alex G? He's coming to the line. It's going to be pole for Alex G. He's a 15.9. Can RJ beat that? Round the final corner he comes in the Alpine. DRS open to the line. Is it enough? Yes, it is. A 15.7. Lawrence improves enough for P4, just ahead of Tier. What about Rafferrari? He's invalidated. Muhiti not on a fast lap. What about Aces? He's only P9. Look how close all of those times are. It is razor sharp margins out there, but it's RJ Blair who takes his second pole of the season, with Alex G alongside him on the front row, and MCL and Lawrence on the second row. Wow, what a qualifying. Patterson getting DSQ'd, unfortunately. Jack Alaco down there after his pedals disconnected going down towards turn 1 on his outlap. So he's going to be starting from P18. So the two Astons, the two Hasses, and Robsu are the ones to watch in terms of the championship contenders. Robsu more of an outsider, but we'll see what he can do in the race from P13 in qualifying. But wow, what a session. I thought we were mortal enemies after Sunday. Oh dear. Yeah, no, sorry about that. I did feel like, though, having watched your footage, like it was my fault, but having watched your footage, I did feel if you just waited and realised that my car was going straight on, you could have done the ultimate switchback and just made me look like a moron. But no, it was my fault. But I'm glad you and Joe have got daily Tuesday routines to tune into Tier 2. And, well, what a championship it is to tune into. It's RJ Blair who takes pole from Alex G in P2. Then MCL and Lawrence on the second row. These two are going to be fighting tooth and nail for sure. Tia and Mr. J-Man make up row 3, and then Yaram Sumo on row 4. Aces down in P9 with Lucasor alongside him on the 5th row. Rafferrari and Muhiti row 6. Robsu down in 13th, and then Krauser, Mania, Scott, and Lupper the last to set times, with Jacko starting P18 after his pedals disconnected, and Patterson getting DSQ'd for driving backwards when he was trying to turn back around. Would have been good TikTok content. That's all you're thinking about when you're racing. You're just like, right, how can I make content out of this? Where's my TikTok clip? But yeah, no, you just kind of turned in immediately, even though I was going straight on. I feel like if you'd waited a few tenths of a second, you would have just made me look like a moron and switched me back completely. But yeah, no, it's still my fault. It's still my fault. So the 15.9 in practice yesterday, says Sumo. He's gutted. Oh. Well, it's hard to hook up a lap around here. It really is. Really, really difficult. I'm speaking from experience. I just can't hook laps together around here at all. So, yeah, no, I sympathise. Every time I make an overtake now, I think, would that look good on TikTok? God. See, these are the things that make me feel like an old miser. I just don't get on with TikTok. It's too in your face. It's too geared for people with extremely low attention spans, and I don't want to lower my attention span more by getting addicted to it. There's also the accusations of it being spyware, but that's a whole different story. It's a fun track, but got to be full of confidence. Absolutely, 100%. Confidence is key around this track. As soon as you start losing the car, you start losing it everywhere. It gets really difficult to keep your concentration. But it looks like most of the grid on medium tyres to start off, with Lawrence, I think, the man to watch on hards, and then Sumo Ace is also on hards, Muhiti and Robsu on hards as well, Mania on hards, and then Krauser, Lupper, Jacko and Patterson all starting on the softs. Jacko looking for a lightning start in this race. See if he can manage it. He wants to make up for what happened in qualifying. Looks like his pedals have fixed themselves, so he should be fine, hopefully. Alright, so here we go. Everyone getting lined up on the grid. 19 car grid in Tier 2. Fantastic to see. And we're about to get going for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's a good start from RJ, but better start for Alex from P2. He's going down the inside, but RJ gets a better second phase. Can Alex send it down the inside for turn 1? No, he can't. He decides to keep it there, but Lawrence is round. Oh, someone's round. There's big contact. There's damage further back. I think that was Ferrari round in the Williams. Someone took damage as a result of that. No idea what happened there, but Tears up to P3. MCL down to P4. Lawrence down to P5 as well. They're all battling in this midfield. Is MCL going to go around the outside of turn 4? Surely not. He backs out of that sensibly. And Mr. J-Man nearly into the back of Lawrence there as Yaram looks to go. Oh no, there's contact. MCL is round. I think that was Lawrence. I think there was contact between the two championship rivals. MCL is down to P12, but Lawrence could be in the doghouse for that one. MCL's got a long recovery on his hands now. Jacko up 4 spots. Patterson up 6. What a start for him. And Lupper up 7 as well. Another lightning start for the Red Bull driver. And so Robsu also up 4 in the other Red Bull. Great starts for both of them. Mania up 4 as well. Brilliant stuff from all of those drivers making up spots. But huge drama in the championship. I think must have been Scott that took damage. He's a long way behind now. And oh, of course it was Scott. He's got no front wing. He's going to have to come into the pits and replace that one. As Muhiti goes wide now. They've got battling further down, but Jacko's into the pits. He's got no front left end plate, and a disastrous qualifying has turned into a disastrous start to the race as well. Lawrence, big slide through turn 1 on those hard tyres. He's really struggling. Yaram makes it past Mr. J-Man. He's got to keep the place though. J-Man back down his inside into turn 2, but Yaram has the inside for 3 and keeps the spot. We're going to switch back to tyres on the left hand side of your screen, as RJ has a lead of 1.1 seconds from Alex G, and then Tier in P3. Lawrence just trying to keep people behind on those hard tyres in P4. Those hards are awful. They're so horrible to drive on. He's going to be wanting to get rid of those as soon as possible. He's going to be under so much pressure until he does get rid of them. Aces in P7, Sumo holding firm in P8 as well, as Lupper's also holding firm in the other Red Bull on those soft tyres. Hard tyres OP in the first stint, medium in the last stint. Hard tyres OP in the first stint. I really disagree with that. I think they're terrible tyres. But Lupper on the softs gets a big moment. I think he hit the curb again, and he got a track limits penalty as well. He's back onto the circuit, but MCL's going to sweep round his outside for P11 as he now looks to chase after Mania for P10. But Yaran's making moves further up in the Alfa Romeo. He's down the inside of the struggling Lawrence, and he's up to P4, but he's gone deep into turn 1, and Lawrence has him straight back again. Mr. J-Man gets past as well. Yaram losing 2 places there. Bit of a lapse in concentration. He's missed the braking zone for turn 1. Mania and MCL. Oh no, MCL's round. MCL's round at turn 2 again. It's 2 spins for the championship. One of the championship contenders in this race so far today. It's got to be contact again, surely, because Mania lost time as well. No idea what happened. Maybe MCL sent it into turn 2 and understeered into him. Maybe Mania turned into him. Who knows? But it's Jacko and Patterson fighting for P14 now. Both these guys had to pit for front wing damage. As that's Lupper round in the Red Bull further up, unfortunately. Reset to track is allowed if you're beached. It's allowed if you're beached, but only if you're beached. And from the few seconds that I was on board with him, I think he was indeed beached. So I think he'll get away with that one. MCL, though, getting back past Ferrari. He's back up to P11, but he's 5.5 seconds further back from where he was before that spin. And Ferrari losing that spot. Lupper some 17 seconds down the road as Yaram now making moves on 2 drivers, but he goes wide again out of turn 1, and again he loses both places. He's under pressure from Aces as well, who finds his way past. Yaram breaks early for turn 2 as Aces makes his way through to P6. Great race for him so far as Lawrence gets his way back past J-Man as well. We've got another yellow flag. I'm not sure what that's for. There's yellow flags all over the track. Tier now with a 3-second time penalty in P3. that could turn out to be costly later on in this race. It's Alex G in P2, chasing RJ down now. That gap was up to 1.1. It's coming back down below a second again. See if he can get within that DRS range as they try and get rid of Lawrence, because he's the real danger to those top three on those hard tyres. Same about Aces as well, actually. He's had a great first opening few laps in this race as Aces. And he's on those hard tyres as well, so he's in an advantageous position for the second stint. Yaram right behind him, though, nearly goes into the back of him at the final corner. But they're both going to have DRS. Sumo's there as well as Robsu. Don't forget about him. He said he had a poor qualifying. He was not happy with his quali. So I gather that doesn't reflect his true race pace around here. And judging by the fact he's in this train for P4, I would definitely agree with that, as he looks to try and make himself into more of a proper championship contender, because at the moment he's just an outsider. He's the nearest outsider to this four-way championship battle, but if he can get another good result, he will be straight in there, and it will be a five-way battle for that championship. And wouldn't that be good to see? Aces, though, has lost track of those two cars ahead of him. He's 1.2 behind now, as Patterson's out. Patterson's binned it on the exit of turn one. There's his car. He's out of this race. We have a safety car. Those who've had to pit early will be very happy about that. And now the leaders have got a decision to make. Mediums are worse. I completely disagree, Marcus. I did 2 races around here. I think mediums are way better than hards, personally. RJ, though, stays out. Alex into the pits. Tier also into the pits. But a huge decision from RJ Blair to stay out there. Lawrence also in, committing to the 2-stop. He's going to be on mediums now. And then he's going to go on mediums again, I would guess, to the end of the race. And he's going to be in an excellent position. Everyone around him on the hard tyres. Aces and Robsu also staying out on those hards. Very interesting split strategies indeed. I think all of these guys will have to pit again, I would have thought. They're just going to have better tyres. Maybe the hards can make it from here. It would be quite the slog. I think they can make it from here, but it's not going to be pretty if you try it. Everyone now into the pits. Rafferrari. And why not? Gains a few places from doing so. He's up to P12 in his recovery now. He's just behind the man he wouldn't have wanted to be behind, MCL. These two have a little bit of history this season. Not the biggest fans of each other. But P11 and 12 now. Bit of drama between those two in I think Miami it was, when Jacko kept MCL behind him for quite a while, and MCL was saying that he should have just let him through so they could both catch up to tier and make up those positions, up to P2. And Jacko stood firm. It's like, why would I let through a championship rival? So yeah, those two, little bit of history. They also crashed in the elite race around Brazil last week, or 2 weeks ago. So we'll see if they can keep it clean with each other this time. Krauser up there in 13th. Lucas Rowe 14th. Rafferrari 15th on those mediums. Scott into the pits for a set of mediums, I imagine. And then Muhiti and Lupper a long way down. Lupper's been lapped, in fact. So hopefully he follows the lapped car procedure. Glad I couldn't undercut you on Sunday. Yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, are you saying you as in me or you as in Marcus? It's a good race. I thought I had you for a long time in that second stint. As soon as I got past Marcus, I was hunting you down. I was in the zone on a mission, and then the gap just stopped coming down. I couldn't get it to start coming back down again. It got to about 2 seconds, and then it just stopped. And then I made mistakes of my own. It was a good race. But, safety car, I don't know if it'll be in this lap. It'll be close. Scott's just coming through the chicane now. Safety car's coming through sector 3. I think it might come in right on the exit of the penultimate corner, which would be awkward for the drivers. I think Scott might just be too late to catch back up. Yeah, he is. Safety car stays out for one more lap as Lupper comes off the track to let everyone through. That is not the proper safety car procedure. I hope he hasn't given anyone a time penalty there from the game, because that would be unfortunate. But at least it seems like everyone's been let back through. He could have just come into the pits anyway and let everyone through by going into the pits, but we'll gloss over that. He's retired from the session, in fact. Rafferrari and Lucas Rowe going side by side under the safety car. That could cause some illegal overtake issues. Rafferrari getting back past. I don't know which way round they were before that little kerfuffle. If they swap places, there might be a penalty incoming for Rafferrari after the race, but we'll see. That was aimed at Marcus. Ah, okay. Yeah, we were both on the hards. The mediums are just so much better that the undercut is insane around here, but the mediums are so good that you can chase down the hards relatively easily. Where the undercut really shines is if you're on the same tyres and someone comes in a lap earlier than the other, then it's 3 seconds for one lap, or more than that. So it's massive. But anyway, safety car should be in this lap. RJ Blair leads the Grand Prix, but he hasn't stopped yet, and neither have the 2 cars behind him, Aces and Robsu. So RJ has got to use these mediums now and build a gap to the cars behind, like he did in the first part of this race. We're only on lap 8 of 35, a long way still to go in this Grand Prix as RJ warming the tyres down towards the penultimate corner. We'll ride on board with Aces to see when RJ goes for it. He's gone out of the penultimate corner, nearly bins it into the wall by doing so, but he's just about kept it going. And they go through the final corner, and it's RJ who still leads, but he moves to defend. Aces has got the straight line speed. He uses ERS as well, but I don't think he's going to send it into turn 1. Not quite close enough as we get this race back underway. RJ leads from Aces, and Robsu up there in P3, with Alex just behind. Tia Lawrence on the mediums in P6. Keep an eye on the defending champion as he nearly goes down the inside of Tia at turn 2. But everyone just single file, but Lawrence going around the outside for turn 4. Brakes early, doesn't send it, just tries to get the switch back on Tia. But wow, very, very brave driving by Lawrence there. But it hasn't quite worked out. Tia still holding firm, staying ahead. Good driving from Tia to stay ahead there as well. But Lawrence has got some work to do on those mediums. He's got to make this count, given that he's on the 2-stop. So they come through the final sector. Yaram under pressure from Sumo. But no moves being made as of yet by my podcast partner. There's Mania and MCL as well chasing them down. Jackalacco there as well, as Lawrence has made the move now. He's gone down the inside of Tia into the final corner. An unusual overtaking spot, but it's worked for him. Alex looking to the inside of Robsu now on those 5 laps fresher, hard tyres. He sends it down the inside, brakes late, gets a bit of oversteer, locks the rears. They're still going to be side by side on the exit, but it's going to be Alex who finds his way through. Lawrence is trying to make it 2 cars that Robsu loses position position 2, and he has done. Robsu down to P5 in 2 corners, and Tia is looking to do the same. He's looking at the outside of turn 4, just what Lawrence did to him a lap ago, but he just about backs out of that one sensibly, but Robsu's deep into turn 5. And Tia looks to the inside but can't quite get it done as his teammate Lucasro gets a 3-second time penalty. MCL getting past Sumo into the chicane. Don't know how he managed that. Maybe a mistake from Sumo. There's a McLaren round, that's Muhiti further back. Oh, disaster for the Turkish driver. He's going to have to get his way back into this race again. MCL though up to P9, and Robsu and Tia now side by side again. Tia makes the move up to P5. Robsu really struggling on those 9-lap-old hard tyres. He is not having a good time, has a big slide out of the penultimate corner. J-Man now finds his way through, nearly contact between the two as they go through the final corner. Yaram trying to find a way past as well. Robsu under huge pressure here. He's really starting to regret not pitting, I think, as they go down towards turn 1. Yaro brakes early, MCL brakes extremely late, somehow dive bombs all 3 of them. It's going to be 4 wide into turn 2, surely not going to go well. It doesn't. Yaram comes in, MCL gets contact between him and Robsu. He just about stays on the track. I don't know how they're all pointing in the right direction still. It's incredible stuff, but it's MCL back down to P9 as a result of that. Robsu down to P8 now. He continues to plummet down the grid on those horrible hard tyres. MCL looking to get past him at the chicane, but backs out of that one. I'm very glad he did. As they come into the latter part of Sector 2 now, Sumo and Jacko as well just behind, looking to see if they can get their way through. MCL right behind this Red Bull. There's no way through yet, but here he goes. He's going to look to the inside. He's going to send it surely, and does. Brakes extremely late, gets the car stopped. It's a great move from the Spanish driver. He's up to P8 as he continues his recovery. We've got Yaram and Mr. J-Man. That's Mr. J-Man round, in fact, in the McLaren at the penultimate corner. Robsu nearly went round as well, just as we cut away. He lost the place to Sumo, but nearly went into the wall. Jack Alako is the next to find his way through, and Robsu really regretting not pitting now. He is having a horrible time on those 11-lap-old hard tyres, and well, it's not been a good time out there since that safety car restart for the Red Bull driver. He's trying to get himself into the championship fight today, but he's not going to do it by having a poor strategy like this one. He's going to have to rely on some luck further down the this race as Alex and Lawrence side by side through turn 5. Alex makes the move back on Lawrence. It must have been a switchback through turn 4, and then Alex got back on the inside at turn 5 and kept the place, but very close between them. And Aces is next up. RJ is 1.2 seconds up the road. Alex just behind this Haas of Aces versus Kings. Lawrence up there in P4. So Tia looks on as well. If anything happens, he will pounce. Yaram and MCL not too far behind. Same about Jacko, only 2 spots behind. MCL as well. Lawrence goes very deep into the final corner, and there's contact between him and Tia, and Lawrence is into the wall. Tia's hit the Aston Martin, and oh, there's big contact. Robsu didn't see what was happening. We've got a VSC. We've got 5-second penalties all over the place as it's absolute chaos at the final corner. I don't know why they didn't ghost. Alex G, 5-second penalty as well. So many 5-second penalties. I have no idea why they didn't ghost there. They really should have ghosted. But it's a disaster for so many drivers, and the VSC is not going to help them either. But Robsu's so unlucky. Lawrence and Tia coming together, though. They're at the back of the grid now, and it's an absolute disaster for the defending champion. It was Tia looking to the inside. I don't know whose fault it was, but Lawrence got no front wing. Tia surely damaged his Ferrari as well, but less severe. Muhiti getting through. We got yellow flags again. That's Robsu with no front wing as well. Does Mr. J-Man have a front wing? Yes, he does. So he should be able to get past this Red Bull with difficulty, but Robsu lets him through. That's very sportsmanlike from the Finn. But it's RJ who still leads despite all that chaos, with Aces 1.8 seconds behind him. Now he lost time under the VSC, probably an unfortunate timing of the restart. But Alex G up there in P3. Does he have, what's his penalty for? It's 5 seconds. I don't know what that's for, but he's going to have to serve it in the pits if he does pit. Unfortunately for him, all of these people are going to have to pit as well. Disaster for them, as Alex now ran the outside of Aces versus Kings into turn 2. There's contact, and Aces is into the wall. Oh, and he just clips Sumo on the way past as well. Lawrence gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane just to add to his woes. But there's contact at turn 2 again between Aces and Alex this time. And Aces was the one who went round. Alex stays in P2, but I don't know how many penalties are going to come from this race. Yarum now finds himself in P3 with MCL just behind. MCL could be the biggest winner of the 4 championship contenders out of this whole palaver here. Lawrence and Aces with unfortunate things happening to them. And MCL, he had his misfortune in the first stint, but since the safety car, he has kept it clean, and he's up in P4, looking for a potential race win, which would bring him straight back into the championship battle. Aces up there in P7 as well, still, despite the contact, but he still hasn't pitted as well, so he's gotten much worse tyres as Yarum makes his way into P2. As Lawrence looks like he's gone round at turn 4, that it's gone from bad to worse for the defending champ, as Rafferrari sends it into turn 1 but overcooks it. He's back down to P9 and now Aces for P7. Aces goes very deep into turn 2. Lawrence with a 10-second time penalty now. What is going on with Lawrence? I think he's just heading to the pits to retire maybe. And the defending champ and championship leader has had a race to forget here in Hungary. Mania just behind Aces. There's definitely more pace in that AlphaTauri at the moment. I don't know if there's damage to Aces, but Rafferrari there in the Williams as well, looking to try and find a way past. He's got good pace in that Williams so far. Scott right there as well. Don't forget about him. Luke Hessler and Krauser in this train too. Big train for P7 right now, as Lawrence surely retiring from the session. There it is. He is going to be fuming in that cockpit, but a disastrous race for him. RJ into the pits though finally from his 1 second lead, and he's going to come out on fresh mediums to the end of this race, but fresh hards to the end of this race. And he's going to have a tough time finding his way back here. MCL and Alex now side by side. MCL down the inside of the Mercedes, and he's up to P2 with Yarum just ahead, 8/10 in it. As the reserve driver leading this race very, very well right now. He's not dominated on pace or anything like that. He's just been consistent. He's kept out of incidents. Talking of incidents, Aces and Scott coming together. Aces also contact between him and Lucastro as Krauser takes his opportunity and sweeps around the outside of Lucastro on approach to turn 4. Yarum gets a 3-second time penalty for warnings. Rafferrari goes very deep. Krauser makes up another place. What a brilliant camera angle that was. MCL's into the lead. Must have been a mistake from Yarum, and the Spanish driver looking to take full advantage of the woes of his competitors. Krauser making up another place. Rafferrari's out. Rafferrari's out the race. What a weird DNF that was. We do have a safety car now, which is going to neutralize things. RJ is going to be absolutely furious about that. He's not going to be able to believe his eyes. A safety car comes out the lap after he pits. Rafferrari somehow out of this race. I have no idea what's going on now in this race. It is absolute chaos. Lawrence has no words in the chat. Lupper broke his rear wing, and that's why he was struggling at the start. Marcus is gone for 5 minutes, and he's missed an absolute carnage in this Grand Prix. RJ stays out on the hards, but he's going to be competing with fresh mediums now as he goes up to P3 as a result of that. But he's got MCL on fresh hards as well in P2, and then Yarum has stayed out on the hard tyres, 11 laps old. He's going to try and go to the end, but it's going to be a disaster for him. Rear wing damage for Lawrence from the contact at the final corner, and that's why he's retired. This championship just keeps there's twists and turns in this championship every single week at the moment. It's Yarum in the race lead, followed by MCL and RJ. I remind you all, we've had 6 races so far this season in Tier 2. This is the 7th. All 6 of those races have featured a different race winner. And, well, MCL, RJ and Jacko have all won a race so far this season. MCL won in Austria, I believe. RJ won in Singapore. Jacko won in... where did Jacko win? In Imola. Alex G hasn't won a race yet. Neither has Mania. Scott, of course, as well. Lucas Rose Sumo. Aces has won a race. He won emphatically in Bahrain, one of the most dominant victories of the season. Second only to Lawrence's victory in Miami. Mr. J-Man down there in P11. Tier with a penalty down in P14. Robsu's going to be back in this race. He'll be glad about that. But it's going to be from the back of the grid, unfortunately. Really sorry to hear that, Lawrence. Yeah, head up. You'll be back next week. It's far from over. I mean, the carnage that's happened today. Next week is Silverstone. No idea what could happen. There's still 3 rounds to go. So it is still well in the balance. But Jackalacco is the lead car on medium tyres. He does have 3 cars to pass, but one of them is on 12-lap-old hards. MCL and RJ on fresh hards. But Jackalacco, the lead medium runner, this man started in P18. What a drive this has been so far. And who knows what more he could do in this Grand Prix. We're about halfway through. It doesn't feel like it. Feels like we've done a whole Grand Prix already with everything that's happened. But we are about halfway through. Safety car should be in this lap, but I'm sure there's still plenty of drama around the corner in this race. So here we go, safety car in this lap. Yarum is going to get us going. We'll ride on board with MCL in the Haas. They come for the last couple of corners. When is Yarum going to punch it? RJ punched it out of this corner after the last safety car. Is Yarum going to do the same? No, he waits a little bit longer. Longer still. He's going very slow down towards this final corner. MCL impatient. He wants to get this race back underway. Yarum biding his time. He's going to go for it out the last corner by the looks of it, and he has done. MCL, though, not fooled. He's right behind him. What a brilliant restart from MCL. He looks to the outside for turn 1. Aces makes a move further back, but here comes MCL for the lead. Breaks late, and he gets the move done into P1. What a restart from MCL. Jackalacco and Alex side by side. Alex and RJ now. What a move from Alex G. He's up to P4. Down the inside of RJ. Can he make it stick? He's going to have better grip. Someone's round. Oh no, Sumo's round at turn 1. No, disaster. He's had such a good race. That's so unlucky and undeserved for Sumo. But he's down to P15 now. But it's Alex G up to P4. What a restart for him. But what a restart for MCL. He now leads this race by 1.5 seconds. And Yarum is going to be backing up the rest of the pack. He's on 13 lap old hards, and MCL has done exactly what he needed to do to get a massive advantage in this final, well, what should be the final stint. But here comes RJ down the inside of Yarum into this right-hander, and he's made it stick. It's a good move from the American, but look how much time he's lost. 2.5 seconds between him and our race leader. What a restart for MCL. That's got to be one of the overtakes of the season so far, as Yarum under pressure from Alex now on those mediums, and Jackalacko looking to follow him through. MCL leading this race, but these two on the mediums, you can't count them out yet, as Alex ahead before the braking zone. Jackalacko down the inside of Yarum at the braking zone. I think that move is now done. That's Scott round, and Lucas Rowe as well with him. Both of them round at turn 1. I've no idea what's happened there. But they're both all the way down now to the back, other than Sumo. And yet another unlucky race for Lucas Rowe. I really feel for him. He is getting so many unlucky races at the moment. Aces and Mania side by side through turn 5. What a move from Aces up to P6. He's a man on a mission as well. Someone's gone straight on. That's Mr. J-Man at the chicane in the background. He's all the way round. Has to reverse to get himself back on the track. Oh no! Oh, Scott's hit him, and Mr. J-Man's out as well. We've got another safety car. Sumo is back in this race. And another safety car is out. We've got 6 DNFs in this Grand Prix. I think it's just people assuming that someone's going to ghost, and they don't. But RJ and Yarum into the pits. Perfect opportunity for Yarum. I'm surprised RJ's come in though. He's going to be right to the back now. Yes, he was on the hards, but he wasn't doing too badly on them. And now he's going to be right at the back. Yarum's onto the soft tyres to the end. He's going to be really struggling now. Tia exiting the pits. It's MCL who still leads, but now his 2.5 second gap that he built up has disappeared, and now he's got drivers on fresh mediums right behind him. Alex G, Jacko, Aces, all looking for a special race to see if they can get the race win here. Mania and Krauser up there in 5 and 6 as well. They're doing well too. Muhiti in P7. Robsu, don't forget about him. Robsu's still in this as well. Up there in P8. And honestly, who knows what could still happen in this Grand Prix. It's been an absolutely crazy race. Safety cars coming in this lap. No, the lights are still flashing, so I don't know why MCL's backed off. Safety car staying out for another lap. Should be in at the end of lap 22 though. Let's have a quick look at penalties. 6 seconds to Lucas Rowe, who I think has dived into the pits. Yes, he has. Fresh mediums. 3 seconds for Yarum, 3 seconds for Tia as well. But at least the safety car gives us a chance to catch our breath from this wild Grand Prix so far. That might explain it. That might explain why people are crashing into others and people aren't ghosting. Yeah, even so, you shouldn't be reversing onto the racing line, ghosting on or off, but Yeah. I would never publicly slander anyone on a live stream, Marcus. Just an innocent error. Anyone who's ever set a lobby up has done it in the past. But yeah, unfortunate. But here we go, MCL out of the final corner, safety car is in. MCL though gets a bit of wheel spin on the exit, and that could open the door for Alex G. He's going to look to the outside of turn 1 as MCL defends. Here we go. It's going to be late braking for the Mercedes as he looks for his first race win this season. Round the outside, but he can't make it stick. MCL stays ahead. Jack Alaco looking for any kind of error as well. Looks like Muhitti's lost a couple of places in the McLaren as Robsu round the outside. No, sorry, RJ down the inside of Robsu. What a restart it's been for the American. He's up to P7 already. Robsu back down to 8th. Yaram now making a move on Muhitti down towards turn 4. Muhitti's round. He's hit the curb, I think. He's round and down to P13. The two Ferraris battling as well. But lap 23 of 35, still plenty of time to go in this race as RJ now looking around the outside of Robsu. Again, Robsu's made a move into the chicane clearly, and RJ just about staying ahead. Is on a man on a mission, is this Alpine driver, as he looks now to the inside of Krauser on the exit. What a brilliant restart this has been so far, but there's contact, wheel banging between the two, and RJ's lost 3 places as a result. He's sent it into that corner, and it's always a risk to send it into that corner. Muhitti's been disqualified. He must have been beached. That's so unfortunate. But maybe he doesn't know you can reset when you're beached. Robsu down to P8 as Yaram makes his way past now. Looking for a move on Krauser. He sends it to the inside, but RJ sends it as well. There's big contact. RJ's braked far too late for turn 1 there. He's all the way down to P11 again. And the American on a mission. Well, the mission has turned out just as well as I was about to say one of the Apollo missions that failed, but Yaram and Robsu side by side, more wheel banging between the two. There's action up and down the field. Yaram really making use of those soft tyres. He looks to make another move now into the chicane on Krauser, and that's inevitable, and that's also inevitable. Contact between Yaram and someone else. I'm not sure who it was, but someone broke their front wing. Yaram down to P10, Luke Esra, I think, oh no, it was Sumo. Of course it was Sumo. Of course. Who else? Who else would get caught in that unlucky situation but Sumo Gilligan? Honestly, unbelievable. But it's MCL who leads this Grand Prix now. My 1.1 seconds from Alex, who has been unable to stay with him in this early phase of the stint. DRS enabled, but Alex is not going to have it. Jack Alaco staying with him as well. Ace is up there. We're down to 12 drivers in this Grand Prix as Robsu comes into the pits. Sumo as well for a new front wing. RJ stays out. He's going to be up to P9 as a result of that. Soft tyres for Robsu. Should be soft for Sumo as well, I would think. But Tia coming around the final corner. We're going to have to discuss what to do with this race, I think, because ghosting should have been on, and a lot of drivers have had what they would argue as unfair retirements due to ghosting not being on. So we're gonna have to talk about that, about what to do with this race, but that's for later. We're on lap 25 of 35 in this Grand Prix. 10.5 laps left to go, and it's MCL who is pulling away on those hard tyres from Alex G, who's trying his best to stay with the Haas, but he just can't do it at the moment. 1.2 seconds. they go through the final corner, 1.3 on the exit, and Alex just can't stay with the Spanish driver. He's in theory on the better tyres, but are they better anymore? There's still 10 laps to go. That's how long he's got to take these tyres. Lucas Rowe setting the fastest lap down there in P7. RJ's into the pits again, and he's retired from the session, in fact. But MCL leads by 1.7 now. Alex really struggling on these medium tyres. I think they're starting to drop off. And yeah, we have a lot of retirements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 retirements from this race. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll discuss it later, Marcus, in APP admins. But for now, we've got to concentrate on this race, and MCL has checked out. Those medium tyres have lost their edge. And Alex G, 2.6 seconds behind now, with Jackalacco now chomping at the bit for P2. He would take the championship lead if he finished this race on the podium with Jacko. No matter what MCL does, here he comes in the Aston Martin, looking for that second place. Down the inside goes Jackalacco, and he makes the move stick. Alex really struggling on those tyres, you can see, and it could open the door for Aces versus Kings. It is going to open the door for the Haas as he goes around the outside of Alex G, but he can't quite get it to stick. Alex keeps his foot in on the exit and stays ahead in P3, but here comes Aces again. It's going to be the outside of turn 4, surely not. Oh my goodness, he's gone off the track to do it. And he had to give that place back, but I mean, kudos for Aces for trying it. But yeah, that was always going to be very, very ambitious. But Lucas Rowe and Yarum trying to stay with the two Alpha Tauris now. Robsu, Tia and Sumo all having stopped. So they'll be having to get themselves back in this race, hoping for another safety car before the end. As will Jackalacco. Aces right behind. Alex is really struggling here. Like Marcus says in the chat, it's 0.3 seconds. Alex already 1.5 behind Jacko. And I think this is going to be slam dunk for Aces to get himself onto the podium here. Such a shame for Alex. I thought he was in with a shout of this race win, but he's down to P4. He just cannot work with those medium tyres at the moment. And Aces onto the podium. And we've got 3 of the main 4 championship challengers on the podium, which is exactly what Lawrence did not want to hear. That's for certain. Alex still just behind him. He's got his goal has got to be just. He's got to get to grips with these aging mediums. MCL extending that lead to Jackalacco at the moment. As Alex struggles again on the corner exit. Another loss of the rear end. As Lucas Rowe is caught up to Krauser now. Be making that move, but he does have time penalties to his name, as does Yarum. So they're both going to have to do better than just overtaking to get this place from the AlphaTauri driver, especially with a mistake like that from Lucas Rowe. But it is coming down that gap now to between those top 2. It's 2.1 seconds as Yarum sends it into turn 1. What a move from the Alfa Romeo. Up to P7 he goes past Lucas Rowe, and now Krauser in his sights for P6. But fantastic move from Yarum there, as Lucas is just going to have to hold his hands up and say, fair enough to that one. Nothing he can do about a move like that. As Yarum goes through turn 4, looks for a move into turn 5, but can't quite do it. He's just not in the right spot at the moment. He needs Krauser to make a mistake to make a move at that corner, really. And Krauser not looking like he's going to make that sort of mistake at the moment. MCL managing that gap now. It's back up to 2.3. So we'll see if that starts coming down again. But Yaram's going to have the DRS now. Aces is staying. Aces 1.5 seconds behind Jakalako. See if he can catch up and try and make it a Haas 1-2. What a result that would be from this race, especially after qualifying. But Yaram, oh, very squirmy on the exit of the final corner. Same with Luke Estro just behind. Those softs already starting to drop off. But here he comes. He's got no ERS left, though, so he would have to send it. And he chooses not to. Very sensible from Yaram. As they go through turn 1, Krauser staying ahead. It's Mania, meanwhile, in P5, looking very comfortable in that AlphaTauri, followed by Krauser. Alex G has dropped off from the back of Aces in the meantime. 1.5 seconds is the gap again, and yeah, he just can't get to grips with those mediums in the same way as the drivers ahead of him. And I think he's going to be consigned to P4 here. Mania in a world of his own at the moment. Very much alone on track right now. Krauser still hounded by those two soft runners behind him. And Aces losing time to Jacko as Jacko closes that gap back to 1.9 seconds, 1.8 seconds, 1.7. Must have been a bit of a mistake from MCL at that penultimate corner there. And Jacko now 1.7 seconds behind with 5 laps to go. Can Jacko do anything to prevent an MCL victory here? From 18th on the grid, what a drive it's been from the Scotsman. But he's got a lot more work to do if he wants this race win. But it's coming down again. 1.5 seconds out of turn 1. We'll cut to Krauser and Yaram. No move from Yaram into turn 1. He's going to have to wait for a better opportunity. ERS for Krauser still looking pretty good. Yaram has got barely any left. It's MCL who still leads 1.4 seconds. It's not come down very much in those last few corners, if at all. Through the chicane, MCL slightly better through there, but it's so close between them. And like Marcus says in the chat, Jacko just better through those last 2 corners on that lap than MCL on these medium tyres. Through this fast right-hander he goes. 1.7 again. MCL much better through that fast right. But this is where Jacko gained time last lap. It's these last couple of corners. Is the same going to happen again? Early on the throttle, not as much this time, but still a little bit of time gained for Jakalako. But MCL gains a lot through the final corner. Much better line from the Haas. It's back up to 1.8 with 4 laps to go. I feel like Jacko's going to need a mistake from MCL here. He's got 50% ERS, but as does MCL. So no ERS advantage for the Scottish driver. Ace is 2 seconds behind. I don't think he's in this one. Yaram finally making a move on Krauser, but Krauser with the switchback on the exit gets his way back through and keeps P6 for now. He's doing a great job defending from these soft runners. Yaram very deep into turn 2, but keeps it on the tarmac. They head down towards 4. I don't think a move from Yaram is going to come here. Unless Krauser makes a mistake and Yaram has to brake to not go into the back of the AlphaTauri. Good reactions from the British driver there. But it's not going to help his cause for getting past. We've got yellow flags. That sumo round again, unfortunately. Quick look at penalties. It's 3 seconds for Yaram, 6 for Lucas Rowe. So Yaram would have to clear Krauser by 3 seconds in order to take that P6. But Krauser will be feeling fairly comfortable at the moment. Yaram is not going to give up yet. He brakes early for the penultimate corner so as not to go into the back of Krauser. He looks to the inside, but that's not going to work on the exit. Here he goes around the final corner. Again, it's going to be DRS enabled. He's still got a little bit of ERS in the tank. It should be enough to see him pass this time, but Krauser defends. They do a bit of wheel banging down the straight. That's Krauser with a late defense there, but Yarum still cleanly through. Krauser tries to switch back again, but to no avail, and Yarum finally getting past that AlphaTauri, and now his goal is going to be to get 3 seconds on him, but he's taken another wide line through turn 2. That might just be the line he's taking, actually. That's 2 laps in a row he's done that. But Krauser down towards turn 4, not able to make that move. So Yarum up to P6, and now he's got to try and gap Krauser by 3 seconds in 3.5 laps. Very possible. He does look very much faster than Krauser while he was driving behind him anyway, so we shall see. Meanwhile, back up to 1.7 again. And Jacko, I don't think he's quite got enough in the tank to catch this Haas before the end, or even at all. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. He needs a mistake from MCL on this penultimate lap, because he needs to have DRS on the final lap to have any chance at all of making this move for the race lead. They're both using ERS. They both know it's crunch time. And Krauser has the DRS still on Yarum. That's just what he needs to do. He just needs to stay within 3 seconds, and he'll keep that 6th place for AlphaTauri. Briefly looks to the inside, but decides against dive bombing from 7 miles behind. Through turn 2, and it's going to be a procession between the two for the rest of this lap. Lucas Rowe looking on as well in the background. Not too far behind. Sumo into the pits, looking for the fastest lap in this race, which is currently held by Lucas Rowe with an 18.6. As Yarum and Krauser swap places again. I don't quite know what happened there, but Yarum's now well ahead again. But look at this. Look at the gap between the top 2. It's 1.1 seconds. Can Jacko get in DRS range before the final lap? 1.102. It's going to be close. There's the detection point, and no DRS for Jacko onto the final lap, but it's still not over. We've got to follow these two. It's 5 seconds back to aces. These two in a league of their own in this final stint, but MCL with that advantage. 1.1 seconds between the top 2. Jackalacco, he just needs one more mistake from MCL and he'll be in striking range, but he's only got 1 lap and he doesn't have a DRS zone. He's going to need a big mistake from the Haas driver to have any chance of this race win, but he can see him up ahead. He's got no ERS left. He's used it all. So is MCL. They're both pushing to the limit in these final couple of laps. But MCL pushes that gap back up to 1.2. And Jackalacco's going to need a miracle here to take this race win. What a drive it's been from both of these guys, actually. MCL and Jacko have both put on a brilliant show today. Jacko from P18 on the grid to P2, but I think it's going to stay P2. MCL coming around the final couple of corners, big slide out of the 3rd to last corner there, but he's just about held onto it through the final corner, and MCL, through thick and thin, wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. What a drive. Jackalacco, a fantastic drive from him as well. He crashes over the line. It's P2 and the championship lead for Jackalacco. Aces in P3. He gets himself firmly back in this championship fight as well. Alex G, a worthy P4. He caught back up to aces in the end, but it wasn't quite enough. Mania finishes in P5, solid result. Krauser in 6th, Yarum 7th after the penalty, Lucas Rowe in P8, and it's going to be Robsu in P9. And Tia and Sumo will come home in 10th and 11th respectively after a chaotic race where Ghosting should have been on. It called a lot of drivers out because it was off. Stick around. We will have interviews with the top 3. A great drive from MCL and Jacko, absolutely, Marcus. But there we go. So I will get the interview room ready. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Glad you enjoyed the race. So it's MCL who takes the race win for Haas. And just 1.2 seconds ahead of Jack Alacco in P2, who will take the championship lead. But it's going to be very, very close at the top. Aces versus Kings P3 with Alex G in P4. Mania finishes in the top 5 with Krauser in P6. Yaram in 7th with Lucas Rowe P8. And then Robsu, Tier and Sumo, the last of the finishers. And Sumo did manage to snatch the fastest lap in the end, so credit to him. RJ Blair, Muhiti, Mr. J-Man, Scott, Rafferrari, Lawrence, Lupper and Patterson all out of the race. But we did have a bit of a problem with the settings for this lobby, so we'll discuss what happens with this race. But Jack Alacco's in the party. We're waiting for MCL and Aces. Yeah, at least you finished, Sumo. At least you finished. But yeah, you had some great pace today. Unlucky. MCL's in. We're just waiting for Aces, and then we'll get started with the interviews. Yep, can hear you, MCL, and Aces is in as well. So we'll come straight to our race winner, MCL. Well, a chaotic race where ghosting was erroneously off when it should have been on. But nonetheless, MCL, you came through despite a turbulent start to the race, and it's a race victory for you. Yeah, I caught that on lap 1 as well. Oh, hang on. They can't hear you, MCL. Can you check your party settings?
I can hear you.
So if you go to party voice chat and then go to the 3 dots that say more, and then you go into voice chat settings and then put share your voice on allow.
Yeah, you're expert. Done.
There we go, perfect. But yeah, a fantastic performance from you today. Some great overtakes that I saw as well. But yeah, how was that one for you overall? Were you?
What?
Go for it.
No, sorry. You tell me, come on.
Well, I was just going to say, were you worried you would be caught in the end there, or?
Definitely. Definitely. The more the race goes on, the more pain I have in my fingers. Like, this on control is absolutely unplayable, this track, and Jacko simply had too much better pace. I think his mediums didn't want to die for some reason, so he was catching me lap by lap. But what are you deploying, Jacko?
I burned every minuscule of my battery.
Yeah, I was saving a little bit until the last 3 laps, and then I deployed it all there. But he was really catching up. It was getting dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think a few more laps and we would have had a battle in the end there, but you held on. And, well, back on the top step for the first time in quite a while in this season. And our first repeat winner of the season as well. But, I mean, how are you feeling about these last 3 races, MCL? It's Britain, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar.
Yeah, I'm decent in Britain and Abu Dhabi, but Qatar is really just, I don't know, it's a track limit simulation basically.
Yeah, it
But
certainly
I'm
can
happy
be.
that my teammate is back with me in podium today. And yeah, we had a disastrous race in Brazil. I had 6 pit stops and 5 front wing changes, which is not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy. 1-3, I think. Aces got at the podium too, so massive points. We're catching those Aston guys.
Exactly. Well, congrats on the win, and
Thank you.
good luck for the final 3 rounds.
Cheers, mate.
So we move on to Jack Alako. What a P2 after your pedals disconnected in quali. Had to start from P18 on the grid, and to be within 1.2 of the race win is a brilliant performance, but it must feel a little bittersweet to not have a chance at the win there at the end.
Yeah, of course, but considering I started 18th and had half a front win at the end of lap 1, I can't complain too much, really.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you will, I think, take the championship lead after this race. But are you feeling confident after that one? Were there any moves which stick in the memory that you were proud of in that race?
Nothing spectacular. You know, there's a few sorry, a few down the inside at turn 1, which is the obvious one. But apart from that, I think I just got lucky with people DNFing and spinning, and the pit stops as well worked out in my favour.
Well, it was nonetheless, even you've got to have a little bit of good fortune starting from P18 to get a good result, and you took advantage of it. So well done.
Yeah, it's just well on MCL as well. He was absolutely rapid on them hards. So GG.
GG, mate. GG.
All right. Well, congrats to Jacko on P2, and we move to Aces, who's back on the podium after. I don't think you've been on the podium since your win in Bahrain, in fact. So it must be good to be back.
Yeah, it's alright. Not to be fair, it was an uphill battle today, mate. It was
Yeah.
damage limitation from start to finish. Holly was shocking. I don't know what was going on. To be fair, I really ain't had time to practice because I've actually me down. So literally, I got on it about 7:05, had 10 minutes on TT, and then went straight to the race. So P3 to me today is a win, just to get that 10 points up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've propelled yourself straight back in the championship fight after a few weeks that you'll be disappointed with, but yeah, a great performance from you today. How are you feeling for the final 3 rounds? Are the championship nerves starting to set in, or do you still feel fairly calm?
You know what? I'm taking it race by race, mate. Silverstone, I'll be alright round there, I should think. Abu Dhabi, questionable sometimes. It depends if I get into a groove with the car. And Qatar, it's just, if you don't get a penalty, I guess you'll win the race. It's a nightmare track, but what I'm going to do is, over the next few weeks, I'm going to put some time in, which I haven't been doing recently, which is why the bad performance in Miami was absolutely terrible. And then the same last week in Brazil was terrible again. But yeah, I'll be putting some work in over the next week or so just to get me up to speed again.
Well, last time you put some work in, you took a dominant victory in Bahrain, so that's words that your competitors will not like to hear. But
Well, I heard that I was getting moved to tier 1, so I thought I'd sandbag for a bit. Oh
oh
shit.
dear. All right, mate. Well, congratulations on another podium, and good luck for next week.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for the stream as well, as always. I'll be watching.
No problem at all. Well, thank you all ever so much for watching. Thank you to all our drivers, and apologies for ghosting being off. I take full responsibility because I'm league admin. I have to, and I should usually set up the lobby, but couldn't today. So it's, these things happen. I do apologise to those it affected, and we'll see if anything can be done. But that's all I can say for now. I'll say more in the Discord. But anyways. Thank you all ever so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you to those who were in the chat all the way through. Hope you guys enjoyed as well. And have a great rest of your week. We'll be back next week for more Tier 2 in Silverstone. It should be a fantastic race. Do not miss it. But for now, I've been Ghost, and goodbye.